Intel, the largest chip maker in the U.S., recently began laying off workers as part of cuts that reportedly could be in the thousands. U.S. semiconductor company GlobalFoundries is also expected to lay off up to 800 people.
What we're seeing in the semiconductor industry is, of course, echoing what's going on in the larger tech industry, where there's been declining usage of services, declining purchases of things like PCs.
A global semiconductor shortage has made it difficult for automakers to get enough chips to produce new cars. Gwenapp says companies like GlobalFoundries are factoring this into their restructuring strategy.
For GlobalFoundries, because they've been focusing on automotive over the past few years, that's becoming a bigger and bigger part of their business. So this is part of their transition away from PCs and servers. Semiconductors are really, I think, the most complicated device that mankind has ever produced. You've got billions of individual features onto a single piece of silicon the size of your fingernail.
GlobalFoundries has plans to build a new fabrication facility in upstate New York. Intel has plans to build even bigger ones in both Ohio and Arizona. But will those chip makers still proceed with those billion-dollar projects despite having to lay off hundreds and perhaps thousands of workers?
Those plans are still moving forward. The speed at which they move may adjust somewhat, but nothing has been changed because, again, those are designed to address the market demands 4 and 5 years from now. And nobody knows exactly what they're going to be. But again, common sense and logic tells us that there are opportunities.
With the support of the semiconductor industry, in August, the Biden administration passed the CHIPS and Science Act, which provides more than $52 billion for American semiconductor research, development, and manufacturing. When chip makers take those subsidies and then cut jobs, the optics are poor. But O'Donnell believes they're separate issues.
The problem is people are misaligning timelines. So the CHIPS Act is going to give a bunch of money to these companies to build these factories, which are going to take many years to build. And oh, by the way, there will be jobs to build the physical buildings and install the equipment, and then there'll be jobs to run it. All of that continues, and despite the fact that Intel, for example, is making cuts now, doesn't change in the least the fact that the demand will be there in the future.
Semiconductor companies have the challenge of making sure whatever cuts they make do not disrupt the essential job of meeting chip production demands for now and the future. Mark New, CGTN, Santa Clara, California.